Introducing Will Henry. I believe tonight is truly our first family event. Those of you who are frequent visitors here have heard me tell of the little miracles every day and how the Holy Spirit is truly present in this space and guides everything that we do. It was the Holy Spirit who brought Will and his mom through these doors one day, I believe it was in December, if I'm not mistaken. Since then, I have constantly pestered Will to make more rosaries. They quickly sell out within a matter of days or weeks. Will, who resides just north of Flat Rock, is beginning his senior year of high school this fall. He is like any other typical high school student, juggling sports, exploring colleges, enjoying friends and family. But he is unlike the vast majority of students that I have met. God is at the center of all he does. A role model for all youth, ages 10 to 90. Tonight is not just about this bright, industrious, spiritual young man. It speaks as much about his mother, Ashley, who provided such a solid foundation in faith and homeschooling, and his siblings, Carolina, Walker, Eliza, and Brooks, who support his wonderful ministry called Rings of the Lord. We are happy and blessed this evening to welcome Will Henry to Christ on Campus.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Thank you all for being here tonight. I have to admit I'm a little nervous because this is my first time ever doing something like this, but I'm also excited. So here we go. The lights were set up, the camera was focused, and I was sitting across from the director, nervously awaiting the first question. There was so much going through my head. How do I sound? Am I talking too fast? Am I saying too much? Do I look okay? I should have ironed this shirt a little bit more the day before. While the idea of having a film crew documenting my business sounded like fun initially, the stress surrounding the process left me asking the question, why did I want to do this again? St. Thomas Aquinas said, if the highest aim of a captain were to preserve his ship, he would keep it in port forever. So, what then is the highest aim of a captain? Why does a captain have an obligation to set sail? This is a question I've been seeking to find an answer to ever since I started my business. Tonight, I'd like to share my story of how starting a small rosary business has grown my faith and has taught me to pursue the talents and gifts the Lord has given me. Throughout my life, moments of success and failure have helped me mature and learn valuable lessons, specifically decisiveness, discipline, and courage. From the late nights putting together rosaries on a makeshift table in the living room, to reaching out to countless Catholic influencers only to be quite consistently denied, to welcoming a film crew to Hendersonville. The past few years have been full of excitement. I believe the Lord has led me to this business and ministry by way of my entrepreneurial spirit. I guess you could say I began to become the captain of my life when I began altar serving at our church in North Carolina when I was 12. At first, I was shy, but soon became close with a group of servers at my church. In particular, an older friend, Stephen. He showed me a one-decade rosary that he had been working on, and he briefly explained the history of this rosary to me. Since then, I have researched and documented this one-decade rosary, also known as an Irish penal rosary, on my website. For me, it was love at first sight. I'm sure all of you here have experienced the typical fragile and easily tangled rosaries. They are beautiful, but not durable, especially for boys and young men. But this rosary perfectly married together durability and beauty. The purpose of the Irish penal rosary was for the Catholics in Ireland to maintain their devotion to the rosary during a time of persecution. So while I gravitated towards the beauty of the rosary, I also gravitated towards the history. I suggested to Stephen that he should start a business selling these rosaries. However, because of his already busy work schedule, he had to pass on the idea. So I reluctantly started it anyways. In reality, I was quite excited. We landed on the name for the business, Rings of the Lord, referring both to the anchor of the Irish penal rosary, which is the ring, and of course to Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, a favorite story of mine and my family's. In January of 2021, Rings of the Lord became an LLC. I can't explain why I wanted to start a business so badly, other than it was one of the passions God has instilled in me. But this business seemed to me to have the potential for me to further explore my interest in entrepreneurship, but also tie in my faith at the same time. In the beginning, business was slow, and I didn't have a clue how to market the rosaries. Part of the problem was that the business had a marketing budget the size of a 13-year-old's bank account, a couple $100s at best. So marketing efforts were always very conservative and small. As a result, most of the business was word of mouth. An order here or there, but nothing substantial. On my mom's suggestion, I reached out to a well-known podcast, Abiding Together, to sponsor an episode. Soon after, Heather Kim, one of the hosts, mentioned my business as her weekly one thing. That shout-out brought in around 10 orders, more than I had ever received within the span of a week. To be honest, before the shout-out, I was a little discouraged. No marketing efforts, as small as they were, resulted in anything that helped the business gain traction. I honestly thought that Rings of the Lord would remain more like a hobby than a large part of my life. Around this time, which was my freshman year of high school, my father shocked us and chose to leave our home. After he left, there were a lot of emotions I had to process, a lot of grief I had to deal with, and my world had just been turned upside down. As one would expect, for the first couple months, I felt that all I could focus on was my school and getting used to his absence. However, as time passed and I began to become comfortable, or as comfortable as I could be, with the new situation, I started pushing myself to re-engage with the business. So, I decided to contact the Catholic news organization, The Pillar. I asked if they would be willing to post an article about my business on their website. I mean, what was the worst that could happen? The email went something like this. My name is Will Henry, and I'm a 15-year-old running a small rosary business in the mountains of western North Carolina. I'm the oldest of 5 children, I love serving at my church, and I enjoy designing websites. My business is called Rings of the Lord, and my mission is to spread the power of the rosary and our faith to the world. I would like to send you 2 of my rosaries for you to review and possibly write a review on. I am trying to grow my business and will be very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, Will Henry. Prior to this, I had already sent out similar emails to many other organizations and podcasts, all of which had not resulted in any promotion. Because of my past experiences, I was not expecting much from this email. I mean, put yourself in the place of an editor at The Pillar. How would you react to a 15-year-old trying to run a company? To my surprise and excitement, The Pillar emailed me back a day later, asking to set the time for an interview, so that they could profile me on their website. I jumped on the opportunity, scheduled an interview, and started preparing. I was cautiously optimistic about the interview, and thought that maybe it would bring a couple orders or so. I could not have predicted it was going to be as effective as it was. I was on the golf course when suddenly my phone started dinging with emails of order confirmations and even some special rosary requests. I was confused by the flood of orders, but then realized that all the orders were coming from The Pillar. At that time, we kept a relatively small inventory. And for clarity, when I say we, I mean myself and my employees. And by employees, that's sort of an umbrella term for Stephen, my business mentor, and my younger brother, Walker. We never really needed to be able to make more than 15 to 20 rosaries during the span of a couple months. But when The Pillar released the article, I had to quickly go to my wholesalers and order as many materials as possible. I experienced a wide range of emotions that week: excitement, anxiety, and stress. The materials simply could not arrive fast enough. As traffic on the website increased dramatically, it was clear that the rosaries were a great product. Editors from other Catholic organizations began reaching out to me to ask for interviews. And although The Pillar is one of the larger Catholic news organizations, I knew that there were bigger platforms out there that could spread my story. Even more, my rosary could reach an even bigger audience and grow in popularity. This was my prayer, at least. So, I approached these interviews with enthusiasm and had immense hope for how much more I could grow my business. To my great delight, these interviews ended up being just as effective. While receiving the orders was fun, fulfilling all these orders required a lot of hours, sitting in our laundry room, putting together rosaries late at night. Walker and I were constantly scrambling to find inventory and fulfill orders. Oftentimes, we would set up a TV show and make rosaries for hours at a time, like from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. At the end of the day, our fingers would be throbbing, we would be mentally exhausted, and we felt as if we never wanted to make another rosary again. Although it was hard work and very stressful to keep up with school, golf, and the orders, I kept pushing myself, knowing that I could handle it all because God had given me this opportunity. Although my father's choices had been devastating, and there was a lot of difficulty I had to endure that year, the Lord helped me through these tough times and encouraged me through the successes of my business. In 3 short months, we had an 800% increase in the amount of orders and a 600% increase in the amount of rosaries sold from the previous 2 years. And then, out of the blue, EWTN reached out to us and asked for an interview. Now, unlike my prior interviews, which were all over the phone, this EWTN interview was going to be in person. I was assigned a producer and a camera crew working together to make a 7-minute piece to be released on national television, Living Divine Mercy with Father Chris Ayler. It was scheduled to be filmed on January 8th, 2024, which stressed my mom out a bit as we were in between home renovations and in the middle of Christmas season. But my family stepped up to the opportunity to prepare our home and participate in interviews and filming. It was one of the most surreal experiences of my life, and I will forever be grateful for that opportunity. There were many questions, spotlights, retakes, changes of venue and outfits, even makeup. The day was a class, from the early morning start to the mid-afternoon push to get all the footage necessary. At the end of the day, I was exhausted but proud of myself, grateful to God and my family, and hopeful for the future. I was so glad that I put myself out there when I emailed the pillar, because even throughout all the stress that came along with the orders, those moments of interviews and making rosaries are some of my fondest memories. At this time, I knew God was with me because of the success that kept coming my way. I didn't know what the future held, but I was incredibly optimistic about it. Because Rings of the Lord was doing better, I had started asking more questions associated with business, especially e-commerce, like, what is a good conversion rate? What is a conversion rate? How many website views per day is good? How can I drive traffic? Should I invest more of my time into SEO? In this research, I discovered that my conversion rate was very low. Essentially, for every 300 people that would visit my website, only 1 would place an order. A good conversion rate would be, for every 100 people that visit a website, roughly 3 people end up buying. I needed to redesign my website. On top of having a bad website design, it also loaded very slowly. I did the analysis and figured out that I lost hundreds, possibly even thousands of orders because of how poorly I run my website. So before EWTN released the video, I made sure that my website was looking good and loading properly. EWTN released the video in April of 2024. I was away from home for the winter at a golf academy, which meant Walker was left to fulfill all the orders by himself. He did it. The timing of the video was not perfect, but when I returned, I immediately hopped into our little shop and began making rosaries. It took us about a month to fulfill all the orders, but because we were more prepared and had materials ready, we were able to keep up with everything at a better pace. Going into that summer, my entrepreneurial spirit was still pushing hard for more interviews, so I reached out to some of the editors I had been in contact with and asked them for some of their peers' contacts. I was able to get in contact with the editors at the National Catholic Register. I hopped on a phone call for an interview with one of their authors, and about a week or 2 later, they published the article. They also put me on the front cover of the newspaper. I'm still trying to find one of the copies. Last Thanksgiving, my family and I were visiting Greenville when we spotted Christ on Main, and surprised to see a Catholic store, fortunately decided to walk in. My mom saw an opportunity for me to possibly sell my rosaries here, and she talked to Mr. Bathon and asked about interest. Lucky for us, Mr. Bathon was enthusiastic about the rosaries and quickly asked to get the rosaries in the shop. As Mr. Bathon can attest, the rosaries have been very popular and we have loved being able to sell rosaries in person to a local Catholic shop. Over the past few years, I've been learning how to live in the sorrows of life as well as in the joys. I better understand Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5, when Paul says, and not only that, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we realize that suffering develops perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. Such hope will not be doomed to disappointment, because the love of God has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit that has been given to us. My sufferings have led to an increase in faith, in perseverance, and in hope. I have learned to surrender to the Lord's permissible will and to trust that He is working in my favor. But to be honest, my mom and I had a good laugh when EWTN called to film our life in our home when the Lord was allowing so much unexpected upheaval. Throughout the difficulty of my father leading and the struggle to grow my business, I have learned how to become a captain of my own life. Pursuing difficult things during difficult times has taught me to manage and persevere in a way that I was not capable of beforehand. Every day, it becomes more clear to me that by increasing my faith in our Lord and asking for intercessions from our Blessed Mother, this is how I could be a good captain of my ship. Although, in the grand scheme of things, rings of the Lord is not a huge deal, it has given me courage and confidence to try for things that I would not have normally tried for, and that is a huge deal. Now, going back to the original question, why does the captain have an obligation to set sail? Each one of us has a calling in our lives, to take the talents God has given us and to go out and multiply them, and use them for their intended purposes. Throughout both the Old and New Testaments, God constantly allows his people to go through hard times only to make them stronger and more faithful in the end. Flannery O'Connor once wrote, "You have to cherish the world at the same time that you struggle to endure it." By leaving port, I can guarantee we will struggle and challenges will come our way. But in sailing these rough waters, I can also guarantee joy and hope in our faith will abound. It will be the adventure God is calling us on. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story with you tonight, and I hope in some small way I might be of encouragement to you. One last thing, pray the rosary. Although I strive to pray the rosary daily, I don't always get to it. But I have seen how the mysteries of the rosary align with my life and do indeed bring me closer to the Lord. Whenever I'm going through a tough time, the rosary seems to pick me up and get me back on the right track. Take advantage of this beautiful weapon the Lord has given us to use. It works. Thank you and God bless. And I think we also have the EWTN video ready to be.
This is one of our little miracles at Christ on Main. I've asked Will if he would take some questions. If I can, I'm going to go around with the microphone. But before I do that, if I could introduce Ashley and Will's siblings. Walker, we're going to have you stand up first, I think. Rosie, Eliza, and Brooks. And again, Ashley, Will's mom. And because I'll forget, anyone who purchases one of Will's rosaries tonight will have $3 off. So keep that in mind. Will, if you'll take the podium, and I'll... any questions for this young man? I'm getting there.
What's your handicap?
It's a 1 right now.
Where do you play?
Hendersonville Country Club. Yeah, it's like 2 minutes from our house, so it's a great setup. I'm so grateful.
You looking to play college golf?
I'm not that good. I would need to improve on another 3 shots, I would say, but you never know. I guess I'll know by next year this time, but it's kind of tough right now.
We'll pray for you.
Thank you.
Do you have anybody right now helping you consider being able to find scholarships and being on a golf team? Did you say you're a 1?
I am a 1.
You'll be on a golf team, unless you want to go to like North Carolina or someplace that is the big golf school.
That's exactly where I want to go.
Yeah, you need to take off a couple of
Yes,
questions.
exactly. More than a couple.
Other question?
I'll ask you a business question.
Okay.
What kind of volume are you selling now?
Okay, so I think right now we've sold over 1,200 rosaries.
Wow.
Business has kind of slowed down a little bit this year because I've been busy with applications and everything, but I would say last year we probably sold 600-ish, 700-ish rosaries, and the year before that, comparable, yeah.
Here, one here.
What is your favorite mystery of the rosary?
That's a great question. I really enjoy the sorrowful mysteries of the rosary. Whenever I forget what day what mysteries I'm praying on that day, I'll kind of just revert back to the sorrowful mysteries because I feel like, I don't know, it's so powerful. That and the Glorious Mystery Soup. That's a close second.
Who's your favorite saint and why?
Okay, St. John Bosco, and I really like his enthusiasm he had about the faith.
You go to Catholic school or public school?
I go to an Episcopal school, so yeah, it's not Catholic, but it's, I wouldn't say it's close either, actually. It's good though.
Do you have many opportunities to share this with your peers? And have you done that in other states? Are you invited because of all of the media opportunities you recently had?
I haven't been invited to do something like this before. I'm very grateful, but I would say that I think that because I've reached out to kind of newer organizations like the Pillar, which is a relatively newer Catholic organization, it does kind of reach out to the young Catholics more than some other news agencies would. So, kind of, but not really.
Have you have friends that have become closer to the rosary or just the church?
That's a good question. We moved up here from Florida, and I really haven't found a great Catholic community of friends. So I would say with all the Catholic community of friends that I have had, I mean, honestly, they were so close to the faith before I met them that it's kind of just like they've almost helped me, and I'm sure I've helped them in some way. But I wouldn't say it's specifically through the rosary business.
Where in Florida are you from?
We were from the North Palm Beach area. Yes.
Are you looking at options to scale your model, franchise or, whatever? Because, I mean, great in the Carolinas, but obviously there's potential beyond. So what's kind of...
I think that I really enjoy selling rosaries wholesale. I found that to be unique in a way, whereas with kind of online orders, it's kind of like you just package it up and ship them. But with the wholesale orders, it's like you're hearing from it almost like a real person that you're communicating with. Like I communicate with Mr. McGon a lot about it, so it's more like personal, I would say. So I would probably say that I would like to get into more wholesale shops. I think that's my next goal. And then, of course, if I can get on more Catholic news agencies, that helps as well too. So that's my goal though.
If our shop is any indication, you're on the right track.
Yeah. Thank you.
Did Father Chris let you put the rosaries at the shrine of Divine Mercy? He did.
No, he did not reach out to me asking if I could do that.
Who are all your employees going to be once you start putting them on orders?
My other siblings. That's all I got right now. I'm going to start brainstorming. But yes, hopefully my other siblings. Some of the knots, you kind of have to have a little bit of muscle to pull them tight enough, so that's part of the problem. But I think in the next couple of years, a lot of my siblings will be helping me make rosaries, hopefully.
Looks like a deep bench to me.
It does, it's very deep
Big
bench.
sign-up sheet at the door.
What do you think those knots be, like a half inch or a double half inch?
I'm not sure what the size of the knots is. I know we leave an inch in between like the beads in each knot, and then the knot's probably about half an inch. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Will? I saw that the process is manual. Do you see that potentially becoming automated, going back to Terry's question on scalability?
I think having handmade rosaries is such a good marketing tactic that it would almost make it more difficult if I were to find ways around it. So I wouldn't have the faintest clue on where to start in that endeavor. But I seriously think that marketing it as handmade rosaries really brings a lot to the company. Mm-hmm.
What are your plans after high school graduation?
I plan on attending college. Right now I'm getting applications ready for colleges, and then I'll know in the next couple 7-ish months where I'm going, but we're going to have to see how it all unfolds, but I plan on attending college next year.
Have you attempted to reach out to parishes to try to sell these rosaries?
I have not. No, that's actually a good idea, though.
Because we have them here in Greenville.
I know, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'll have to look into that, actually. Yeah, thank you for that suggestion.
surprised I'm making him up.
Yeah.
So do you feel that tying all these knots has contributed to your golf grip?
I wouldn't go that far, honestly. No, not really. If anything, it kind of, when we make the knots, we cut the paracord, then we have to burn it in order to like keep the knots so they don't like come loose. And I've burned my fingers a lot out there, so when I'm on the golf course, gripping the golf club can kind of hurt after I burn my fingers.
As somebody who owned a small business
Mhm.
here in Greenville, my biggest advice to you is the way your business is going to grow is word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a whole room full of people here who
Mhm.
I can probably speak for everybody who are very impressed with you.
Thank
Word
you.
of mouth is the biggest. Don't try to do print and radio and all that kind of stuff, because all that
Mm-hmm.
is very expensive.
I agree with you. There's a business, I forget what the name of the study is, but essentially when businesses reach their highest potential, it's when somebody buys a product, but they were recommended to somebody else, but that person actually buys it too. So when word of mouth is actually the best marketing tactic out there. So, yeah.
As well as you going out,
Mm-hmm.
pounding the pavement. I mean, your story is it's a beautiful story.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's an event, you're evangelizing,
Mhm.
is what it is. It's not even a business. I mean, I look at you and I think you are the living, breathing in our great little Greenville. You are compared to Carlo, who's about to be a saint. Your generation needs more people like you, and we've been encouraging all the kids in St. Mary's through our Religious Ed program to follow the story of Carlo. You are here local, and I just think it's incredible that we're seeing someone like Carlo in Little Greenville.
Thank you. That's very,
Thank
very
you.
kind. Very kind.
And you
Thank
need to
you.
this is an evangelization. You just keep it up. You're
Thank
doing
you.
great.
I appreciate it.
So speaking of the youth following, which is a great point, do you have a social media presence? And if so, how do you market that?
Yes. For rings, I wouldn't say I have a social media presence really. I've tried it before, and that's not my thing. I don't have an eye for that stuff. Maybe Carolina would want to help me with that. But I think that it's a great way of reaching a lot of. I mean, that's where young people are, honestly. So I am aware that that's where I do need to grow for sure. I think that's where I need to get better at. Yeah.
Be aware that Theology on Tap that we host here often at Christ on Main, and there's a new group in town, Young Catholic Professionals, and you will be known to them if we have anything to say about it, without a doubt. Other questions?
How many shots is your brother getting in now?
I'm still giving him shots, but he shot a really good score a couple weeks ago and beat my great uncle, and my great uncle was still pretty mad about it. So he's a pretty good golfer too.
Charlie, are we going to put this out on the website?
Yes. So hopefully that's some more exposure as well. We filmed this evening, and some pictures will be up on Facebook in a day or two. So.
Also, what is your website? You have a website.
I do, yes. It's ringsofthelord.com.
Any other question? When was the EWTN film? Was it 2 years ago?
It was last year.
24.
Yes.
24.
Mm-hmm.
I think I noticed that Will then and Will now he's ready for college. So
I noticed that too.
yes, but Will, cannot thank you enough, and the entire Henry family. Thank you for being here to support this evening. And I think Mike will help, and Paul in the shop. Don't hesitate to pick up one of his rosaries, because I can tell you they don't stay in the shop very long. So thank you all for coming, and have a blessed evening. Thank you.